Hello, a little bit earlier than normal, but I know that most people actually catch it from the archives, so I'm also experimenting with broadcasting from my mobile phone, so I'll be interested to hear feedback from you as to whether the sound and picture quality are better than they were with my old webcam. And I certainly I can see from my own experience that I'm able to actually get in a much better position. I've got a much broader view screen than I had on my old webcam. So because this is a new thing for me technically, bear with me if there's a few hiccups, but I will get used to it. So today I want to look at the dragon stance, which is the stance that we will be using for the next 3 moves. Now, you're all very familiar with bear stance, this very familiar stance, feet are hip width apart, knees slightly bent, back straight, neck straight, chin tucked in. Dragon stance is basically bear stance with a step forward. So I'm going to turn sideways to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So I'll start off by standing sideways in a good bear stance. To get into dragon stance, you just sink on your right knee, lift your left foot up, and just see where your left foot naturally wants to come down. And you should end with your feet still a hip width apart, but they're now not side by side, but your feet should still be parallel and both facing forward. Now, there needs to be a gap between your feet. At the very least, the heel of your front foot needs to be level with the toe of the back foot. But if you can get a bit of a gap between them, that's fine, but don't overstretch. Now, when you're in this stance, you still need to relax your knees. You still need to have your back straight, your neck straight, and your chin tucked in, and slight pelvic tilt to engage those core abdominal muscles. Now, it is quite a strange stance to be in to start off with, so it does take a minute to get used to it, which is one reason why I'm going to really demonstrate this stance properly and then go on to demonstrate the moves that we do with the stance in the next 3 videos, because there are 3 moves that we do in this stance. All 3 moves have the same backward and forward motion, and it's very simple. As you breathe out, you take your weight forward onto your front knee while keeping the back foot firmly planted on the floor. As you breathe in, you transfer your weight onto your back knee, which is a bit like hitching yourself onto a bar stool. Again, the back foot remains firmly on the floor. If you need to balance, raise the toe of the front foot slightly. Now, with the next 3 moves, certainly with the first of the moves, there is a temptation to bend forward from the waist and then to bend backwards. I can't emphasize enough that in the 3 moves that we do in dragon stance, all the movement comes from transferring your weight onto your front knee, transferring your weight onto your back knee. Your back should be straight, your core abdominal muscles engaged, and at all times the top of your head should be pointing up at the ceiling. because all the movement comes from your body moving forwards and backwards. And that movement of your body is driven by transferring your weight forwards and then transferring your weight back. Transfer your weight forwards, transfer your weight back. So, just to go over it again, I will stand sideways onto the camera. Dragon stance is still got your feet hip width apart, but instead of your feet being side by side, you've taken a step forward so that there is hopefully a gap between the toe of your back foot and the heel of your front foot. Having done that, everything else that you're used to in bear stance should be the same. So your knees are very slightly relaxed, your core abdominal muscles are engaged, your back is straight, your neck is straight, and your chin is tucked in to keep the top of your head pointing at the ceiling. And that's really an important one to remember, because during the 3 moves that we do in dragon stance, your head always needs to be pointing at the ceiling, and if you remember that, then you will be able to do the next 3 moves much better. So, having explained that in detail, I'm not going to demonstrate any of the moves this time, because I want you to kind of get used to practicing standing in that dragon stance. It's not difficult once you've got used to it. Just standing in bear stance is doing qigong, because you're standing in a way that allows your body to be in the most natural position, the best position. You're not putting strain on your hips or your knees or your shoulders or your ankles. You're engaging your core abdominal muscles, which is good for your back. And you are in a position where your energy can flow. So just standing in bear stance is in many respects doing qigong. Just stand and breathe. And if that's something that you do regularly, what I'd like to invite you to do is, when you've done some standing and breathing in bear stance, just take that gentle step forward, get yourself into dragon stance, and just stand and breathe in dragon stance just for a few breaths, because you're still getting all the benefits that you get with bear stance, but you are changing the energy balance slightly, and that's good. I should say that if you stand in dragon stance, it's important that you stand first with one foot forward and then take a gentle step forward and get yourself into dragon stance with the other foot leading. Just means that everything stays balanced. So, right, the next 20 minutes or so is your time. I want you to congratulate yourself for taking time to do something for you, something that you know is really going to benefit your health and well-being. So get yourself into your space where you feel comfortable. Shut the door, shut the phone off. Make sure you won't be disturbed for the next few moments. Just stand with your feet together, and we'll bow in, gathering the yin energy and the yang energy, and then just acknowledging that this is your time. Then step out into bear stance. Take a moment to make sure that You've got the stance right, that everything is as straight as it can be. Remember to tuck your chin in. And just for a moment, I want you to stand and breathe. Close your eyes if you find it easier. I want you to stand and breathe and just tune in to any messages that you're receiving from your body. Maybe bits of your body that you need to pay special attention to today. And then tune into your mind. Just get a sense of where your thoughts are. Maybe decide how you need to feel at the end of this session. And then I'd like you to imagine that you're in a lift. And this lift is looking out over the most beautiful countryside. It's got glass walls, but you feel totally safe. The countryside is so beautiful, and looking at the countryside makes you feel relaxed and calm. And then with every out breath, I'd like you to imagine that that lift gently floats down floor by floor by floor until it reaches the ground or gets as close to the ground as you're comfortable with. And let your hands hang loosely by your side. Just breathe. Get a sense of how your arms move in response to your breath. And then when you're ready, just gently allow your arms to float up on the next in-breath. As you breathe out, they gently sink down. Move your arms as far as you can manage in one gentle, easy breath. And you move your arms as far as your body is happy to go. You know what you can do at your maximum. I want you to work at about 70% of your maximum ability. Not about doing it perfectly, but about doing it perfectly for you. So as you breathe in, just let your hands gently float up, and on the out breath they gently sink down. And we'll do this move twice more. Then with your next move, let your hands float up and turn them in and let your palms spread out. And then as you breathe out, let them float back in and back down. Again, only make the move as big as you can manage in one breath. Be very aware of how far your arms are happy to move. Breathe in, let your hands float up and spread apart. As you breathe out, they float back in and back down. We'll do this move twice more. Last time for this move. Breathe out, let your hands sink down. And as you breathe in, let your arms rise up as high as you're happy to take them. As you breathe out, dip slightly on your left knee. Let your right arm just uncurl. As you breathe in, everything comes back up. Then do the same on the other side. Resist the temptation to try and bend over. Keep your back straight. Breathe out, dip on one knee, let the opposite hand float down, and as you breathe in, everything comes back up to the balance point. And then last time for this move, do the same on the other side. As you breathe in, your hand comes back up, then turn your palms out. As you breathe out, let your hands sweep all the way down by your sides. As you breathe in, they rise up again. And on the out breath, they sweep back down. Only make the circles as big or as small as you're comfortable with. Don't stretch up too high. Don't hunch your shoulders. We'll do this move twice more. And last time for this move. As you breathe out, just gently let your hands float down into position, ready to balance your chi. And as you breathe in, run your hands around that small ball. As you breathe out, push it underwater. Be careful with this move to take your hands no higher than your heart. Breathe in, smooth around that ball, and as you breathe out, gently push it down. We'll do this move twice more. And the last time, as you breathe out, just let your hands gently come to rest in front of your abdomen. Just for a moment, stand, breathe, and just let everything settle. Let your hands gently float down by your side. Bring your left foot in towards your right. And we'll bow out as we bowed in. And then get yourself seated or lying or wherever you intend to be for the meditation. So, as ever, the meditation will begin with the sound of the singing bowl. I'm going to sound the bowl 3 times. The 3rd time I'm going to let the sound die away naturally. And the first thing I want you to do is to try and follow the sound and find that point where the sound fades into silence. As you find that point where the sound of the singing bowl fades away, I'd like you also to be aware of any sounds that are reaching your ears from inside or outside the room. Don't go searching for sounds, just be aware of the sounds that naturally come to your ears. Let go of any temptation to analyse or criticise. Just notice, be aware, be mindful of the sounds that are naturally coming to your ears, and just accept them as just sounds. Then I'd like you to let your awareness move inwards so that you focus your attention on where your body is touching the bed or the chair or the stool or wherever you are. Really notice every touch on your body and get a sense of how your body is supported. Maybe you can be aware of different textures touching you. Whatever you notice is perfect for you. And then I want you to move your awareness further in so that you focus your attention on every in-breath and every out-breath. Don't change your breath in any way. Breathe quite normally. I just want you to notice what it is that you notice as you breathe. What do you notice that tells you this is an in-breath? And what's the difference when it's an out-breath? Where do you feel your breath? Do you feel it at the tip of your nose? Maybe you feel it in your throat. Maybe you feel it most strongly in your chest or in your tummy. You'll all feel different things. And whatever you notice is perfect for you. Just keep your mind focused on every in-breath and every out-breath. Because mindfulness is not about clearing your mind, it's about being aware of what your mind is doing. And if you become aware that your mind has wandered away from the breath for whatever reason, that's perfectly natural. Our minds are meant to think. So if that happens to you, I don't want you to tick yourself off. I want you just to acknowledge that your mind has drifted away. Maybe acknowledge the thought that has taken your mind away. Then let that thought go like a balloon in a summer sky and gently lead your mind back to focusing on every in-breath and every out-breath. And it doesn't matter how many times you need to lead your mind away. Just as many times as your mind wants to wander away, just as many times gently lead your mind back to focusing on every in-breath and every out-breath. Because right here, right now, all that matters is just this breath coming in, just this breath coming out. Just this breath coming in, just this breath coming out. Use your breath as an anchor into this moment when your breath is all you need to think about. Just let your breath anchor you into this one moment in time. Let your breath be a reminder that whatever is going on, that you only need to cope with what's going on in this moment. Let your breath be an anchor to the present moment, letting go of the past and the future and the thoughts that you may have about them. Now I want you to start to let your awareness spread outwards again so that you become aware of where you're sitting or lying and the touch on your body of the chair, the bed or the cushion or wherever you are. Then I want you to let your attention move further out so that you become aware once more of the room and aware of the sounds both inside and outside the room. Once again, not searching for sounds, just letting the sounds naturally reach your ears without trying to classify or identify. Now I want you to listen once more for the sound of the singing bowl, which is going to sound 3 times. Allow your eyes to open if they were closed. Bring yourself back to normal awareness. But as you do, I want you to keep in your mind that thought that by focusing on your breath, you can anchor yourself into this moment, because whatever's going on, the only thing that you need to deal with is what's going on right here, right now. Thank you for watching. I have noticed a slight technical problem, which is that I have no clock on the screen that tells me how long I've been broadcasting for. So it's quite possible that this video is a little bit longer than normal. Faithfully promise, Girl Scout promise, that I will make sure that I have that fixed for the next broadcast I do. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. All feedback is greatly welcomed, and I look forward to seeing you next week.